Moving right along. I want to welcome everybody to the Centerville City Council meeting being held here on February 3rd, 2026. We welcome those of the public that are either here in person or joining us by Zoom. We welcome staff. We welcome council members as well too. Let's do a roll call to make sure that we can conduct business tonight. Councilman Meekum.
Meekum present.
Bangeter present.
Heeman present.
Hurst present.
Plummer present.
All five council members are here, and we thank you for being here, and we thank you for what you do for the city and what you've done to prepare for tonight's meeting. So let's do a legislative prayer of thought by Councilwoman Robin Meekum.
I'll just give a prayer. Our kind Heavenly Father, we thank Thee so much for all of our many blessings. We're so thankful for the great city we get to live in and the opportunity we have to serve our community, and for those that live in our community and their willingness to serve each other. Heavenly Father, we ask Thee please to bless us this night, that we will be able to make the decisions that are best for those we govern. And please ask Thee to put blessings on all of our first responders, that they will be protected, and they will be comforted, and they will be able to serve us well. I say this prayer in the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Councilmember Meekum. If you'd all rise and repeat the Pledge of Allegiance with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The next item on our agenda is the open session. This is an opportunity for members of the public to come to the microphone and share what might be on their mind. We ask you to try and keep your comments to 2 or 3 minutes. Identify who you are, if you're so inclined to speak, and where you're from. Now, we do have 2 public hearing items tonight that you don't necessarily need to comment on those if that's what you're here for. This is on the zoning map amendment on 2000 North 400 West from residential law to agricultural law, and a zoning and code municipal code amendments on the comprehensive LUDMA renumbering. So we'll be talking those, and the public can talk about those. But anything outside of that is free game. Just like I said, identify yourself and where you're from if you're so inclined. So you're the one.
I guess so. That means I get 20 minutes, right? No. So I'm John Uri, live over near Shaylin, and thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight. First, want to thank Gina for supporting this effort, think things through, and just pushing this forward. Shaylin, thank you for your feedback and support and being a great neighbor. So just have a few notes here. So I think you've all received some more than one, but emails about adopting a water-wise landscaping ordinance. My understanding is that ordinance is now being worked by the Planning Commission, and I'm grateful for that. Just to encourage each of you, whenever you have a chance, to push it along and then support it as it comes to this body. So you've seen the email. I hope you've read it. You probably know what it said, but I'm going to summarize a little bit of it. So I think you all are aware we're in a position where our lake is considered in a serious adverse effects zone, which means that it has potential for ecological collapse, large economic impacts, and toxic dust causing significant public health risks and accelerated lake desiccation. As far as the Weber Basin that we live in, agricultural use has reduced by 40% in the last 25 years, the water used, whereas municipal and industrial use of water has almost doubled in 25 years, which is kind of backwards from what much of the country does as they grow. And now it pretty much equals what agriculture uses. And for that water that comes to our homes, only about 2.5% of it is lost inside our homes. So about 98% is lost in our yards as far as getting out to the lake. So it's a pretty bad situation. I think you're all seeing that as you look out at the weather and where we're at this year, and nearly no snowpack. So I know that you might have various concerns. I want you to know I'm happy to talk through any of them with you, but I do want to touch on one. I know that there's been a lot of concern raised about the appearance of water-wise landscaping. Based on our current situation this year, I think you'll all agree it's very unlikely that we're all going to have green lawns this year, particularly towards the end of the summer. Water-wise landscaping done well, I assure you, is going to look great. I can show you lots of examples, including the little bit that I've done in our yard. And it's certainly much more appealing than brown lawns. I've seen in the past, in times of drought, that various citizens throughout the city, they're motivated to go in and remove the turf. If they do that right now, they have no incentive from the city or the state to not put in just rocks and turf. And I know some of you don't like that. So if we pass this ordinance, they're going to have a big financial incentive from the state to follow the requirements of rebates, which require 50% plant coverage, and it also provides rebates for each tree planted. So to sum it up, I just want to say it's a big deal. I also want you to know I am a person of faith. I do believe God can send snow when he chooses to. I also believe he expects us to do our part. And I believe that if you want help in building your ship to the promised land, you should first go find the ore and build the tools before you expect to get the help. This is an all-hands-on-deck crisis, and we have to do our part, even a small part. We all need to pay. So if you support this ordinance, thank you. If you don't, please call me and let's talk it through. Thank you.
Thank you, John. As Jesus said, the Planning Commission is working on that. And Councilwoman Hurst and Councilman Summerhays went with our city manager some months back and worked with Weaver Basin too on it, correct? So we plan on having one that's decent. So thank you for your time and your efforts. All right, anybody else on the open session? Okay, if not, we'll go to our business items. The first item is the public hearing, and this is on 2000 North and 400 West, residential low to agricultural low. This is something that went through Planning Commission, and now it's come to us. Sydney, are you going to, besides what they have in their packet, do you want to update us, or is it Mike? Come on up.
Hi, City Council members. Thank you for letting me come and present this. So this is for the zoning map amendment. The applicant, Spencer Packer, is requesting a zoning map amendment associated with subject property parcel number 070720115. The property is currently zoned residential low, RL, and the owner is requesting to have it be rezoned to agriculture low. This application was recently reviewed by the Planning Commission on January 28th, 2026. Following the public hearing regarding the request, the Planning Commission approved the recommendation for City Council approval of the rezone request 5-0. With that being said, I will say that in the staff report, I noted that the location was in neighborhood 3, and it is actually indeed in location neighborhood 4. They are very similar. If the city council members would like to see the neighborhood 4 goals and objectives, I have them right here. If not, I can go through those really quickly, just so then you can kind of get a generalization about what those goals are and how this project still does meet the neighborhood 4 goals and objectives. Okay. Goal number 1 is to establish appropriate land use patterns and land use transitions. This zoning map amendment does meet this goal. The surrounding land uses are agriculture low to the north and the east and residential low to the south and the west. The following goal is to preserve the existing areas of semi-rural residential for current property owners. This property has been used as agriculture low as far back as it has been in existence. So keeping this lot viable for AL use is in line with this goal again. The following goal, preserve viability of area for potential future development. The whole point of this rezone is to be able to have the property owner to be able to do what he wants to do for this property, as well as making sure that it is aligned with the rest of the neighborhood. The rest of the goals, so the next 4 following goals, do not really pertain to this type of rezone. It primarily focuses on the type of density as well as commercial use in that area. So with those 3 goals in mind, staff still believes that it is aligned with the neighborhood 4 goals and objectives. So I like to let city council members read the staff report that I've prepared, and hopefully that if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. The only alteration that I would do is for the potential motions. They refer to neighborhood 3. Just make sure that whatever you so choose, it does say neighborhood 4.
Is the reference correct, though, the 12480-4?
Ooh, it is 1280-5. Thank you.
Any questions for Sydney on this before we go to the public hearing?
Sydney, I'm
You can
sorry.
You can have more later too, but go ahead.
I did not mean to interrupt you. Where is the reference to neighborhood 3 versus neighborhood 4? I can see the recommendation in staff report, but is there a,
It's in the planning commission.
oh, the planning commission
report.
one.
It's also,
In the proposed motion, finding number 2.
yes,
Finding number 1.
Oh, yeah, number 1.
So part of a rezone, we just like to make sure that it aligns with the general plan. So during the planning commission meetings, we always go through and we make sure that the goals and objectives of the rezone are aligned with the neighborhood that they're trying to rezone in, whether that's commercial or residential. So as part of the rezone for the planning commission.
Sydney, can we pull up the map and you can just show me, what was described in the text? I'm not sure I followed on to the map. He talks about the parcel to the east of the subject property. I only see one called out
Yeah.
on the map.
Yeah.
Yeah, so can you just give me a feel for, it seemed like there was not access to it, was the comment? So that's the one that we're, okay. No.
This is, sorry, thank you, thanks.
Well,
So.
why is there not access to it?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's actually what we're trying to correct right now. So his goal is to be able to have a barn on this property. And when he came in to talk to us, we said, okay, we can't do that obviously because it doesn't have frontage. So we also can't have a lot that has split zoning. So we decided that we were going to rezone this to agriculture low because then at that point, he can have a barn, which is an agriculture use,
Okay.
without having a house already.
I'm sorry, that makes sense. When I read it
No,
and
yeah.
looked at the map, I was
Yeah.
like, which parcel is the one where the barn is gonna be? I get it now,
Yeah.
sorry.
No. Okay.
Other questions for Sydney? All right, let's go to the public hearing part then. This is a public hearing for zoning map amendments from residential low to agricultural low at approximately 2,000 north and 400 west. If you're so inclined to comment on the public hearing, state your name and where you're from. That public hearing is now open.
Hi, my name is Aaron Williams. I'm from Approx. I live at 2,000 North and 400 West. This is a public hearing for zoning map amendments from residential low to agricultural low at approximately 2,000 north and 400 west. If you're so inclined to comment on the public hearing, state your name and where you're from. That public hearing is now open.
Seeing no comments, I will close the public hearing, and we'll come back to if there's any further questions. I should point out that the applicant, Spence Packer, he was at the Planning Commission, and he didn't have much to add, that staff had done a good job, and he agreed with what they had said, so. So questions are for staff, if you have any further questions. Then anybody want to make a motion?
I move that we approve ordinance number 2026-02, amending the Centerville City zoning map by changing the zoning of approximately .50 acres of real property located at approximately 2,000 north, 400 west, from residential low to agricultural low, as set forth in staff report, with the correction that finding number 1 should read concerning neighborhood 4 rather than neighborhood 3.
And also,
Add the CM Centerville Municipal Code 12-480-5. Can I amend it?
Yes, ma'am, I will accept that friendly amendment.
I'll second that.
Motion second, further discussion? Let's vote, Councilwoman Meekum.
aye.
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 It both passes unanimously. Thank you, Sydney.
Thanks, y'all.
All right, let's go to another public hearing matter. This is zoning code and municipal code amendments on the comprehensive LUDMA renumbering. Besides what we have in our packet, tell us about renumbering, Lisa.
Yes.
You would.
The legislature adopted Senate Bill 1008 late in the year. I think they adopted it in October in their first special session, but essentially it completely renumbers and reorganizes the Utah Municipal Land Use and Development Code. So we were all used to the 10-9A, and we knew where everything was for decades, and now it will be in 10-20, and then the housing policies are in 10-21. So it's been a struggle to get used to that, but we're all making our way through. But we're recommending that the council adopt this ordinance 2026-01, making all of the references in our municipal code to the new section of LUDMA, and also in our zoning code. So that's why this went to the Planning Commission. Municipal code amendments don't necessarily have to go to the Planning Commission, but since we're also changing our zoning code, it went to the Planning Commission, and they recommend approval. So we do need to have a public hearing on it, but other than that, we just recommend that we make these changes. I can see you're not feeling my pain.
Oh, I actually was so feeling your pain. I was thinking this is a tedious, awful
This is very
job.
tedious.
No, I just mean not knowing where any of the code is now.
I think there might be one slight typo. Number 4 down from section 1. I believe it should be CMC 3.08.070. This one? Yeah, there's not a .080.
Oh, okay.
So I did a little search.
Oh, nice.
'cause
Thank
Lisa
you.
has trained me well.
I know.
And,
Shut all of
and,
these?
and I checked them all.
Gina, you get the gold star, man.
Wow. I checked them.
Here's your intern.
I'm not gonna be your
Actually, I was
intern.
checking
I have no interest in
The
this.
second, the 9/8/20, okay.
So, but everything else was great. I was
So
like
it needs to be,
really
wait, 3.08.070?
7-0. Yeah, there's just not a .080. So,
Excellent.
anyway, that is, I did check that 070 did refer to Utah Code 10-9A-801. So, but double check me, Lisa, because you're more
Yeah, I'm
concise and complete than me.
I am like bowing down to you right now. That is incredible, man.
So, thanks for bringing that up. Any other items that anybody sees needs to be corrected, or getting further understanding of this from Lisa, of what we're doing here? If not, then I guess I'm looking for a motion on it.
Mayor, did you open a public hearing?
Oh, thank you, Councilman Banger. I've been known to miss them once or twice, but one of you always catches me, so thank you. All right, so this is a public hearing matter, so let's go to the public hearing for the comprehensive LUDMA renumbering. That public hearing is now open. Just state your name and where you're from.
I can't believe everyone is not here wanting to comment on this change.
Right.
If they were all conscientious like Gina, we'd have a whole room full.
I actually learned quite a bit in kind of reviewing this. It was a good walk
That's
through
awesome.
our land use and housing type ordinance. Zoning.
Seeing no comment, I will close the public hearing. Then we'll come back, if there's not any further discussion or questions, then I'd look for a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve ordinance number 2026-01, amending various provisions of the Centerville zoning code and Centerville municipal code to address comprehensive renumbering of the Utah Land Use Development and Management Act from Title 10, Chapter 9A of the Utah Code to Title 10, Chapters 20 and 21.
I'll
With
second
the,
that.
with the one revision that you've
With
identified.
the one revision referencing, my word, now I gotta go find it.
See 3.080 to 3.08.07.
70, yes. As Lisa said, I won't repeat that.
I'll second that.
Motion is second, further discussion? Start with a vote from Councilman Bangor going to the right.
Aye.
A hearty aye.
Aye.
Hearty.
Aye.
Aye.
That passes unanimously. Thank you. All right. Let's go to the minutes. We have January 6th, 2026 City Council and January 6th, 2026 closed session, which we tabled and brought forward, and January 20th work session and City Council minutes. So we have those four to approve. Is there items in any of those 4 minutes that anyone sees as being represented unfairly or we need changes to?
Mayor, certainly not represented unfairly. But on our approval of council minutes on January 20th, 26, in conformity with the Open Meetings Act, Utah Opens Meeting Act 524203, and our city municipal code 30.060, specifically item G, where it says, written minutes are required to include the following: any other information that is a record of the proceedings of the meeting that any member requests be entered in the meeting or recording. I don't see the enclosement that I suggested last council meeting, that the handout that our tree chairman Heather Taylor supplied, it was not attached as an attachment. I'd like to direct staff to do that. She didn't have time and didn't take the time to read it in its entirety. And I think it's 2 great options. I'd like the public to, so it's not available on audio or video. And she took the time, meticulously so, to make a specific recommendation. I'd like the content of that to be included in these minutes, and ask the staff to do that.
That's the 20th. I thought that was on the 6th.
That was the 20th.
No, it's the 6th.
Oh, did I miss?
Yeah, she came and commented on the 6th, I
Okay.
believe.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's the 6th.
Okay, do you have a copy of that?
I do have a copy of it. I was under the impression after we discussed this last time that we don't include all of open session handouts in our minutes. Did I misunderstand your direction on that, Lisa?
That's what I guess council needs to vote to approve the minutes or not. You know,
However, may I point out that state statute and municipal code says it will be included if any other information that is a record of the proceedings, which it is, of the meeting that any member, I happen to be one of the members of the committee, request be entered into the minutes or recording. I don't think it's even an
So
item of debate.
if we don't have any
Compliance
other,
to
is there any other minute changes? If not, then you could make a proposal, and with the proposal, you could make that change to put those in there.
I would approve that those minutes be approved as recorded with the addition of that. Those
Can I-
draft minutes be recorded with the addition.
Can I just ask for some clarification, though? If Councilman Bengeter was to request that it was added, and we vote on it, and we do not, or for some reason we didn't want, or it did not pass the vote, he's requesting that it get put in. It should not be a question of debate or up for any type of vote. It just needs to be put into the minutes. Is that correct?
But
Based upon the ordinance?
So you still have a motion on the minutes.
I have to have a motion
Okay.
for the minutes, and
Fair.
we're changing the minutes, so that's, in his motion, he's proposing that change to the minutes.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Okay.
I'm sorry, can you tell me those to the statutory site that you're relying on in the ordinance citation?
Utah Code 52-4-203, conforming with Centerville City Municipal Code 30.060, number G.
Which comes right after the section that says the substance in brief of the testimony or comments provided by the public. So the substance in, which is typically what we do. If we have public comment, we give a paragraph of what they said. But it does say, and any other information that is a record of the proceedings of the meeting. I think if the vote is to add those, we can have a broader discussion, because to have minutes with 100 pages of attachments, there has to be some policy or agreement, or we will have very lengthy minutes of attachments. But I think occasionally we have added attachments.
We have.
So, it can, yes, legally you can do it, but the body votes on the minutes as to, whether they properly reflect the meeting.
So I'll go ahead and second Councilman Bangerter's.
Does everybody understand the motion in the second?
It's to include Heather Taylor's comments, or written comments that she did not state in the session, or in the council meeting.
Correct. But she did pass out.
That she did pass them out. Mhm.
I'm kind of anxious to hear what Shaylin's take is on the,
Well, this is a further discussion before we do a vote then. We have a motion and a second, further discussion.
Yeah, I'm looking at the statute section that council member Bangeter cites, and any other information that is a record of the proceeding of the meeting. And to me, I would be curious to know what information that is a record of the proceeding of the meeting means, because the suggestion that it's any handout that was given by a member of the public, I'm not sure that is the way that language it is interpreted or would be interpreted, because you have to think of the practical implications. Otherwise, people would just bring stacks and reams of stuff to stick into a public record, and I'm not sure that would be a record of the proceedings. In my view, a way to interpret that statute would be to say the information is to say that she provided a handout, and that would provide a record of the handout, but not necessarily all the substance.
Well, and that's why I cited the sentence above, the substance in brief of the testimony or comments provided by the public. So we do not provide a verbatim of all the public comment in the minutes, nor do we attach verbatim written comments from the public. So we have a lot of comments on the general plan. You will be getting those. Some we've had hundreds of pages, and so what we do is we put them in the record of the staff report, because it is part of the record. But the minutes are a summary of that testimony, or, that public comment. So that's why I'm saying, I think it's a slippery, if we attach this, let's have a broader discussion, because I don't think the intent of minutes is to add verbatim all public comment. There's a different way to do that, and it's in the record of the staff report and the proceedings.
Council members, please understand that, that the record of the meeting is what happened, what was transpired. It was not recorded by audio. And this limits it. Shaylin, if somebody, or Councilmember Heyman, if somebody comes in with 1,000 pages, it takes one of us to say that they want it in the minutes.
Correct.
That's what I was
Now, we
just
will
gonna
use some
say.
discretion. I would not have suggested that 3 paragraphs, I would not have suggested that 1,000 pages of documents showered upon the council be entered into a record of the minutes. I do believe that this allows and addresses the idea that when there's something specific, I think it's important, it's paramount to what we're doing right now, approving the general plan. It's specific wording. We won't have to figure out our own. It was a very good suggestion with 2 options to choose from. I think that's a very appropriate thing to suggest be entered into the minutes, and I believe that's substantiated and backed up by code. So
That's what I was going to say is, we're not saying that we'll accept any attachment. One of the council members has to say they want it attached.
Right.
And hopefully we would all have reason to realize that, we can attach 3 paragraphs, we can't attach 300 pages.
But we
So,
can attach 300 pages.
well, we can.
could,
if
Well,
there's-
that's my
Yes.
concern
Yeah.
right there, is that then
Yeah.
they're not, then it isn't a summary any longer. It becomes verbatim, which I think is not the intent. I'm fine with a little more detail. I'm concerned that we're on a very slippery slope of making it very difficult to,
But I-
either we have a policy that we attach it or we have a policy that we don't.
Well, I
For
guess
me,
we
the
ask
intent of the
Lisa.
minutes is to say what we voted on.
But
It's not
Lisa, with
necessarily
what he
just-
says and where we have a council member requesting that, that sounds like we don't really have a choice.
and may I suggest that it speaks to transparency as well.
Well, we have a motion and a second, so we have to vote on the motion after,
Okay.
when we finish our discussion, or we have to, yes, withdraw his motion and do another motion, so. Further thoughts, or are we ready to vote on it?
Just so that we're clear, my objection is not per se with this particular attachment, because it is short. My concern is a more principled basis of, I want to make sure that we have something that we're applying consistently. Because
I think that's my concern as
Because not
well.
everything is going to be a short 1-pager, and I am not sure that the way that some are interpreting the statute, because then tie it to whoever just sneezed. The way that we're interpreting the statute is the way that it has been interpreted. And so I would be looking to our city staff and our council in particular for guidance on that. I just want to make sure we're being consistent.
Yeah, as I've said, yes, I think the language is up for debate, and you have to take language in context when we're looking at that. And the one right above it says, in terms of the public comment, we're just going to take it in brief and summarize it. So we can look at information, I think it can be interpreted differently, but we have not, occasionally we've attached things, but we generally do not. And I think it is a concern of mine that our minutes they're not minutes. Minutes is a summary of what happened at the meeting. It's not verbatim. If you want verbatim, you can go to the YouTube, you can go to the audio.
But with
So-
this, you can't get that anywhere, because it wasn't on the YouTube or on the, anywhere else. This
So
would be
I
the
think
only
you
place.
can, but I don't think you have to. Like, this is the body, you get to vote on the minutes. What's the accurate version, and how do you want to interpret your policy? And if you think it's only 3 paragraphs and you want to attach it, that's fine, but I don't think I'm saying you have to. No, that's not my opinion.
From staff's perspective, Lisa, what I'm hearing is that we do not need to attach it, even though she did not read it.
Yeah, I think that adds to, this is the thing, but we have a lot of people that provide written comment on the general plan that didn't even come to the meeting, so it's not in any record, but it's in the record of the staff report. It's part of the record. It's not part of the minutes, which is the distinction I'm trying to make. There's a record
That's very
and there's
helpful.
minutes.
So the record, is Heather's comments somewhere? Like when we talk, yes, I know you're tracking it with the general plan. Are we tracking this type of public comment somewhere that's not the minutes?
Since it was not at the public hearing for the general plan, no, that probably would not have been picked up because we have public comment, but she also has an opportunity to come.
And
speak.
make that.
And now that we know it, we can obviously put it in the packet of public comment that came to the council.
I guess I'm wondering, could we request that if somebody, like where this was specifically directed at the general plan, could we move it into the record for the general plan, even though it wasn't a public hearing? Her 3 paragraphs written out, if she does, in case she does not come back. That's, no.
I mean, that's, I don't know.
Difficult to track.
Because my concern would be if a public hearing has closed and now you're allowing public comment, it's not as a legal risk with a city-initiated general plan, but if there were a developer here and additional public comment kept coming, now you're tainting the record because you're the decision-making body, but it wasn't on the record and the developer didn't have the opportunity to respond, and so now you have a due process issue. But anyway, for this one, it's not a big deal, but perhaps we can have a discussion later about the parameters of it.
I think that would be wise. I'm obviously not voting here, but I get concerned about that we should have some sort of policy for it. Obviously, what Heather said was nice. It's not that long. But if you'd had 30 public comments and you have one comment going on that passed out, 10-pager with all sorts of obscenities in it, I mean, I don't want to start, hey, how come you didn't put my record in? We put that person's record in, et cetera. I just think you opened a big can of worms.
I think
Having some sort of policy.
I agree. You've brought up a very good point about that there may be some comments made in written form that may not be totally appropriate to be submitted in. And for that reason, I don't want it to appear that we've played favorites, even though that would not be the case. It might just be that it was, but it would appear that way if we do that.
I have a question. If I do believe we've been without power or without a recording device during a meeting, or at least not on YouTube or Zoom. If that's the case, and it's only on a recorded tape or whatever, how are we getting that information out? Or how do we pull that information into minutes? Is it then, again, summarized? Or do we, I mean, what I've heard is that we don't need to put in verbatim because it's on YouTube.
Well, or you have to take the recording. So if the technology is not working, we don't have a meeting, period.
YouTube is not.
And YouTube is.
YouTube is not the official audio recording. YouTube is a courtesy that we do. The video is not required. The audio is required. And even the times that we've had technical difficulties and our YouTube stream isn't working, we still have a complete audio recording of the meeting, and that is what is legally required. And then we'll do the minutes from the audio recording. So
Jennifer will go back a lot of times and put that audio recording as the YouTube.
yeah, even if the stream didn't work, then I'll still post our audio recording on the YouTube channel, because if people are going to YouTube to look for a meeting, they might be sad that there's not a video on there because it wasn't working that night, but at least they'll still find the audio.
And is the audio uploaded to the Utah Public Notice website?
Yes.
It's on a public website.
Okay, it's gone quiet. You ready to vote on it? Let's start, Councilwoman Hayman, your turn, go to the right.
I'm sorry, what's the motion is
Oh,
for
oh,
all
sorry, I'm not voting, I'm just, the minutes, but there's changes. I guess I should just ask with those changes, who's in favor the minutes. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Do you need a clarification, Shailene?
Well, I'm assuming that we're talking all of the minutes, including
think we just
the,
had-
Clarify your motion again, Councilman Baker.
My motion is this set of minutes, the set proposed, the draft proposal for the minutes approval of January 6th, 2026. That we approve the minutes as amended and inclusive of the short statement that was made by Chairperson Heather Taylor regarding suggestions for the general plan. And it was,
And Councilman Meekum seconded that. So we've had our discussion, it went quiet, so now I'm just asking for approval of minutes with a yea or nay. So,
So we'd need to still make a motion to accept the other minutes as well.
it's in his motion.
No.
No,
Just
just
Oh,
January.
so, you're right, thank you, Councilman Plummer. Yes, the other three, you're talking the other three meetings.
So he could just add that to his motion.
I'll add that. And the other two meetings we're approving
Other three meetings.
as amended as well.
Could
I'll
we
second
do
that.
them separate?
We can do them separate if you
I
want.
mean, I'm gonna,
Okay, so let's vote on the first one, January 6, 2026, city council minutes. With that motion that Councilman Banger made and Councilman Meekum seconded. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
nay.
nay,
I think I heard 3 and 2, so those pass. Okay, so look for a motion on, you can do them individually or just all, the other three all together?
I'll make a motion that we approve the other meeting minutes for the work session on January 20th, the city council on January 20th, and the closed session on January 6th.
second.
Further discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that passed unanimously. Thank you. All right, let's move to appointments. Appointment of persons, boards, committees, or statutory office. I sent out volunteer forms to each one of you. Jacqueline Black to the Trails Committee, Brooke Johnson to the Parks and Recreation Committee, and Michael Adamson to the Planning Commission. Jacqueline Black is filling a empty position. Brooke Johnson would be filling an empty position. And Michael Adamson is going to fill Tyler Moss's position, who his time was going to run out anyway here in 4 or 5 days, but he resigned with me over the weekend because he received a calling in the LDS church, which he couldn't do this anymore. So I thank him for his service. So he would be, if you approve Michael Adamson, he'd be filling Tyler Moss's position.
Do you need a motion for that?
Yeah,
Or just-
advice and consent on those.
I would be happy to make the motion that we appoint Jacqueline Black to the Trails Committee, Brooke Johnson to the Parks and Recreation Committee, and Michael Adamson to the Planning Commission.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Mayor, may I make a comment?
May.
I approve that. Because I've had an opportunity to speak with the mayor personally and gain a little more information and insight on those approvals. I would like to suggest that as the mayor appoints individuals, that it being identified by statute, that happens with advice and consent of the council. I'm concerned about a member not meaningfully being able to provide advice and consent without understanding and seeing the applicant pool. A single name presentation for a yes or no vote, wherein I will acknowledge that we received the applicant forwarded for approval, his resume or application, which is very helpful, without knowing the rest of the pool, other opportunities, what member he's replacing, or more information. I'm sorry, but I don't think that's making an informed decision and appropriately understanding a very important vote that I was taking. I again acknowledge, in this case, I support these candidates as I have personally vetted it further. But to do so without more information is simply rubber stamping, and I don't think the public expects us to do that. So I would just respectfully request that council members be made aware, and that applications for positions, commissions, and committees be shared with council members, who will then be advising and consenting to approval, so we understand the whole picture going forward. That's just my suggestion, please.
I appreciate
Thank you.
that suggestion. Thank you, Councilman Sandy.
All right, let's go to council report. Councilmember Plummer.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. I will be giving a report. This is my final report with the Centerville Citizen Corps as their liaison. I continue on as the tree board liaison, tree board and conservation liaison. So I'll start with Centerville Citizen Corps. The Centerville Citizen Corps is continuing to focus on emergency preparedness. They are looking at some key elements as they prepare for a new upcoming emergency preparedness exercise. They're currently in the process of testing non-radio communication methods to confirm message and delivery and accountability. I mean, the radios work great, but I think there's been a lot of pushback from people throughout the city that they can communicate just as well via text. So that being said, they're going to be testing out some new data sheets. They're going to be clearly defining the roles of the emergency manager and district leaders during this new exercise. They're going to be identifying some direction and ways to use the 2026 Great Utah Shakeout for neighbor-focused preparedness efforts. They're also looking at focusing on a clearer city volunteer duties and descriptions list, and a more structured CERT framework, which has been kind of a difficulty in that we are reliant upon other entities to train CERT volunteers. For the tree board is currently focused on the general plan. They've been reading through that, looking at ways that it will impact their group and how they might be able to have some input on that. They are looking at infrastructure projects and future developments, and in ways that will support tree growth in the city. They have actually been looking at commitments as to the Tree City USA, which is a designation the city gets, and what benefits that's providing and what we need to do to retain that designation. They are currently looking at current tree removals in projects along 400 West, Peachtree Drive, and Parish Lane, and how that those tree losses will be affecting those areas. Supporting the use of tree vouchers for residents is a big push from the board. They would like to see an expansion of that program in order to be proactive and reach out to residents sooner, maybe years before certain projects might be going forward, so that trees can be replaced before the actual project is coming forth. And of course, having a recommendation for where those trees would go, which would not be in the parking strip. That would be the goal for the tree board. So they're also in the process of planning for an Arbor Day celebration later this spring, and coordinating activities with the America's 250th anniversary this year. And that actually covers a lot of what they've been doing. If there's any questions, I can field those and I'll do my best, but that is the end of my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Plummer. Any questions for Councilman Plummer on those? Great. Anybody else have anything pressing with their committees? Great. Then we'll go to my report. I do have a report, but I also have a message as well too. So, when was it, a month ago, that Councilman Bangeter and Councilwoman Hirsch and myself, we took an oath of office. And I reached out to the judge the next day, and it got me thinking about oaths. And an oath of office is a binding formal pledge or affirmation required of individuals for assuming public office, promising to faithfully perform their duties, support the Constitution, and act with integrity. It acts as a legal commitment to public trust, and in the U.S. binds all officials to uphold federal or state laws. Then it goes through, AI does here, key aspects of the oath of office. I thought that was fairly fair in how it stated it. And that night we took an oath to honor the U.S. Constitution and the state of Utah Constitution. So I have started, I haven't done too well with the state of Utah Constitution yet, but we all took that oath. I've been going through the U.S. Constitution. And I would encourage you all to do it, because not only us as elected officials, but we probably have some other people within this room that have taken similar oaths as well too. And we probably should be aware of, when we take those oaths, what we're willing to uphold, that we don't ever come before the Constitution of the U.S. or the state of Utah. So I just think it would encourage you to do that. And along those lines as well too, I've been thinking a lot lately of what's been going on in society a little bit. And a while back, I texted my friend, and I call him my friend because he is my friend. We grew up, played on the same LDS ward softball team together, and we were good friends in high school. And this is one of our federal senators, John Curtis. And I texted him, and I'm sure he'd be okay with me sharing this to you. And this is when I was attending the National League of City and Towns meetings in Salt Lake. And I said, I'm attending the National League of City and Towns meeting in Salt Lake. Senator, I'm attending the National League of City and Towns meeting in Salt Lake. One session we talked about civil leadership. I've been following your emails to our mayor's office weekly. Thank you for working with all parties and reaching across the aisle to get good legislation. Please let me know what additional support I can give you, Clark Wilson. And Senator Curtis responded back, Clark, that means a great deal. I've tried to make collaboration the norm, not the exception, and I'm convinced that's how we get the best outcomes. I'll keep working that way, and if something comes up where your voice would help move the needle, I'll be sure to reach out. Because I watched his work on one of the bills, and he reached across the aisle. And it took me back to the very first president I had a chance to vote for was presidential race was the Reagan-Carter race in 1980. And there's often stories given about Ronald Reagan and Tip O'Neill meeting after a hard day of work when they're pounding each other on the floor and maybe sometimes saying choice words to each other. And they're going out for a beer after and talking things over, becoming friends. Or Senator Hatch with Senator Kennedy, two unique opposites becoming great friends. and working in collaboration on bills. And I've asked many people that have served back there why maybe some of that civility has changed, and including Senator Curtis. He told me part of the problem is now is we don't live back here together. We come out to our communities so much. He says you used to move back there with your families, and you sometimes went to the same religious meetings together. Your kids were in school together. Your spouses, knew each other as well too, and so you were more inclined to be able to get along and be more civil with each other. And so, I don't agree with everything Senator Curtis does. He doesn't agree with everything I do, but I don't agree with we don't agree on every issue here. But I appreciate that somebody that's willing to make good legislation happen by reaching out to all people. And I think that's the goal that we should have. Let's make sure that we get good ordinances, good resolutions in our community, because we've taken the chance to work with each other. So that's the message that I want to leave with you as far as my report goes. I met with the new minister at the Episcopalian Church, Reverend Shannon Burke, and we had a nice meeting last week, and I've shown Councilman Meekum a big list of questions she had for me coming in, and they were really good questions as far as what why feels important in the city, and how they can help us, how we can help them, and once again, I thank them for their third Wednesday dinner, and just want to remind you about that again. But that they're willing to work with us and help us, and I commend Chief Ackerson and Chief Stewart for when she was ordained to the ministry, that they went that evening. At least you said you did, if you weren't there, Alan. But I was not able to make it, so I think it's important that we support obviously our nonprofits and all faiths in the region, and all people that are reaching out to try and do good things. So that's my report. Legislation-wise, anything hot and heavy, those that vote or listen in on League that we need to make them aware of, that's what's weighing on your mind, because I notice you have it there.
You have my notes up?
Yeah.
I was just looking over the homework that we were assigned. Is there anything, I don't know that there's anything that needs to be taken care of. It looks like Nate has sent an email regarding the one homework assignment that we had. Brant, is there anything else that you see that?
Well, a couple of Senate Bill 219. This is one Mike Agate, and we've discussed a couple times, billboards. This bill came up last year, really frustrating, where with the widening of I-15, billboard companies are, we can move them wherever we want. We don't have to get your approval. So that's kind of what's coming forward again, that if a billboard in North Salt Lake is going to be condemned or has to be relocated, it's possible for them to relocate it within Centerville and actually not meet our height restrictions, according to this bill. So Senate Bill 219, I would actually recommend that we contact our representatives now about Senate Bill 219 and oppose this, because it's kind of crazy. So Scenic Utah is a group that kind of watches over this, sent us an email. And
did you see that today?
Yes, Scenic Utah has, everybody on the council got that email, and it's a very good description of the issue that's happening. So.
Yeah.
Along those lines, can I just thank Councilmember Hurst for sharing last week this quick synopsis?
We'll send you the new one. Sorry.
That's what I was going to ask. Do we have a
Yes.
new one? That's
I
really helpful.
I would
Thank
be
you.
most happy to do that. Would you guys, I will tell you, they do send it out as an Excel spreadsheet. It's very handy because you can click right on the link and it will pull up the bill, and you can read the summary, you can see who's presenting it. I'm happy to send those every week. I apologize that I failed
I
to do
would
that.
love that.
Shaylin also. Is the Excel spreadsheet okay?
Yeah.
I like it just because it's got the active link,
Right,
but
I would like that.
And I like how it identifies the position of the Utah
Yes.
League.
And
Yeah,
they're
that's
providing
helpful.
that. I would just be forwarding it along. But interestingly enough, yesterday in LPC, do you mind if I just mention this about, they showed how many bills are going through each session. I think 4 or 5 years ago, it was 400 and something. And gradually you're seeing it increase. And this year there's like 765 already. I mean, it's getting really,
Which is-
really law-ish, you know? And
Yeah.
I think some of them are very concerning. This Senate Bill 219 I'm glad you remembered to bring that one up, Brent. I had failed to highlight that one as well as I needed to see it. So, you know, some of them need to be done, but some of them are actually infringing on property rights. In this case, I feel like this is somewhat of a property issue with the signage.
So this one is being run by a senator out of Davis-Weber County. His background is a real estate sales background, it looks like. But I don't see a representative attached to it, nor does it look like it's come out of committee yet. Are you guys hearing, does this thing have legs? Or is this just something that he's running?
That's a good question.
It's
It's
not,
Musselman, he is running
It's still
the
in.
bill. Chief sponsor is Calvin R. Musselman in the House.
yeah.
In the House?
Musselman, he's listed as a
Is it not a Senate bill?
It's
No,
SB.
you can run, he's the House sponsor, sorry.
Yeah, it
he's-
says
he's a-
B2,
he's
so
Senate.
it's a Senate bill.
The House sponsor hasn't been identified yet,
Okay.
so it's purely in the Senate, sorry.
I mean, this is one that didn't get through last year, but I don't think it hurts to get these out to our
It,
legislators. This will be one that I think could really impact Centerville in a negative way, so.
it doesn't have legs yet, but they're concerned about it.
Yeah,
They can't go up over all the bills, but it's one they brought up near the end that they're concerned about. So it's a couple other bills you should be aware of that affect our delegation. Representative Ward's housing bill, he doesn't want to change it at all. The league's taken a strong opposed to it. And Representative Cutler's bill, what was his bill on that were,
that was it.
E-bikes.
E-bikes,
thank you.
yeah,
that we were in favor of, right?
yeah.
As a league, at the
Yeah.
league's position. You do a vote at the end as a body as a whole. So that's a couple with our elected officials who represent us.
Yeah. There is also a bill, just out of interest, on the transportation utility fee. I don't think we're opposed to that. I think the things that they're asking for, we don't have a transportation utility fee at the moment. That's kind of one of the things I brought up in the work session, but if we were to do that, I didn't see anything that I didn't think should be the way those should be imposed if one were to ever be introduced in Centerville. But,
It'll just be really hard to implement because it's based on traffic counts.
yeah.
And that's what's gonna be really hard is RVs doesn't have the same traffic as Maverick, but they have the same use, so how do you determine what the fee would be? So that's where I see the challenge, is just trying to decide that fee.
Yeah.
Because it can't be based on property value, because then it's a property tax.
Right. That is kind of the concern, and maybe that was part of, it wasn't proven that was the issue with Pleasant Grove when there was a lawsuit against
It
Pleasant
was
Grove.
dropped before they determined if the
Yeah.
fee was reasonable.
Yeah.
The property tax ones, a couple of them moved forward. That's our homework, was House Bill 236. That Nate, thank you for that response. I'll forward that on to the league.
Is that the one that I sent you and Nate, Brent?
Yes.
See, I'm asking Nate to do all these things while he's trying to do budget, and he already got to it because they wanted a response by tomorrow, so thank you, Nate. I was gonna get you privately after, but since you've done it, you need to be praised here in front of everybody, so.
Yeah. You did a
so
great
thank
job.
you.
The other one we had homework on was the impact to our city on House Bill 161, which is the way that primary residential units are taxed. Currently, it's 55% of its value for a primary residential home. House Bill 161 would tax a primary residential unit at
40%.
40% of its value.
I ask you a dumb question. You say that you've been tasked with homework. What does that mean?
They want us to respond back either staff or, have we
Like, are they
responded
just
on that one?
divvying out individual bills to various folks and saying, you
No,
got the
it's
research?
No,
the-
this is
to
generally to
everybody,
every
every
city.
Okay,
Some cities are gonna respond back, some
I
aren't.
see, okay. I was wondering
Yeah.
if you divvied out the work or how, what homework.
No, this is
Okay.
just general homework that they'll say, here's your homework, take this back and give us an answer.
Got it.
The only way to kind of fight the state legislature is with information, actual information that we see, that this is how we've been able to fight bills. So during this legislative session, that's my update. I'm reading bills and sending information to the league about how that impacts us. So that's primarily what I do during the season, so I'm reading bills.
Yeah.
Good
Have
to-
we responded to them on this House Bill 161? Do we have some data to show them how that impacts our city?
Again, there's not much to share, other than, again, it just changed, your tax levy doesn't change, it actually puts the pressure back on businesses. If you're
Well,
reducing,
that's my
because
concern,
our
is
amount we
how does
take
it
in
impact-
doesn't change, it's just who pays it now. And the values, the assessed values, that will determine who pays what. And if businesses pay 100%, then they're gonna take up that difference, honestly.
And I think that is my concern, is have we looked at that and how that does
They've talked about
impact
it. We've talked about it.
businesses?
So I'll share, as city managers, we get together on Fridays with the league, so we have a separate meeting with just the city
Okay.
managers, and it's really, actually, we just get down into the meat of it, and it's very productive.
Great.
That's where we give ourselves assignments as well. Hey, could you check out this, and could you check out that, and then we report back.
This bill would disproportionately affect Davis County. Davis County is residential heavy,
Yes.
and so we
It could
would-
be very hard on the businesses.
That's right.
There's other bills that create some challenges with property taxes that are problematic. They don't really have legs just yet. Tort reform came up. I won't go into detail about that, but they're looking at lawsuits and third parties who help cities out. And do they get caught up? Do they have governmental immunity? I thought that was kind of interesting. The other one, the charter school one, is one that Councilmember Hurst and I have talked about. There was a survey that went out where charter schools will, so as of right now, cities have the first right of refusal if a school shuts down. The school district reaches out to the city, says, hey, do you want the property? This bill actually make charter schools the first right of refusal.
Or are they just on par?
It's first right of refusal. And and if we can at least, oh no, I'm sorry, it's on par, and then you bid against each other.
Right, so it becomes a bidding war between,
I'll go on-
potentially, I mean, maybe the city's not interested, or maybe there's no charter
And
schools
I'll go on record
interested,
as,
but-
I'm really frustrated with this one because you have a lot of representatives legislators who are on boards of charter schools, and I really feel like it's a conflict. It's really frustrating. But,
Yeah.
not to say charter schools shouldn't have an option, but it just creates.
Can they just be the second option?
Yeah.
I did pass along my concerns already to Representative Cutler about this one. I'm gonna reach out to the others as well.
What was that one?
Do we know what number it is? I don't know that they brought it up yesterday. Let me see if I can find it in my note.
241. House Bill 241.
Yeah, that sounds
Todd
right.
Brandt is in this every day. He knows the numbers. I'd have to
It's
find
so
it.
much fun.
It is kind
I
of
really get angry. I hate that, but I get really frustrated at some of these bills. But LPC is not a relaxing event. Maybe
No, it's
Lisa.
not.
No, I'm just talking about it.
Oh, it's just, yeah. It's giving me anxiety right now.
You guys are getting anxious down there, aren't you?
That's my report with help from staff and Councilman Hurst. Brent, were you onto your report too?
Yeah, it's basically, LPC, or legislative issues is what I want to focus on, so we talked about that. I want to share, I'm reading the book, Genghis Khan and the Making of the Modern World, and it's a fascinating book. And it talks, and I've talked to Jennifer about this multiple times because she served her mission in Mongolia, so it's really kind of fascinating to learn about it. But one of the great Khans, so Genghis Khan passed away a long time ago, and now it's the sons or grandsons that are now ruling the empire. And essentially, Kublai Khan has moved the empire into China, and after the fall of the Yin dynasty, the Mongols have taken over. But what Kublai Khan has decided is that we can't manage a city by force anymore, by fear, this fighting anyway. So he developed councils to manage the cities. So he says, you know what? It's best left to the people. Just keep sending my 10% or my tributes, and send them my way, but you need to govern as you see fit. And so at that time, they developed, and the book goes into the council set the policy, the bureaucrats administer, and the department heads or the people operate the policy. And so it's really kind of fascinating to see. I feel like this is the birth of some regard of what we see in our modern day as our councils that we see. And the great Khan moved back and says, you manage the way you see fit. Anyway, kind of fascinating. And when I hit that part where they talked about the importance of execution shouldn't be a public display because that will erode the trust. So that actually the spectacles will erode the trust in government, and you should keep those things private. And so we'll make sure we don't do, while on the other side in Europe, they're having all these executions publicly, hangings, but the Mongols have taken a different approach. And anyway, it's really fascinating to see how important that was, because the Mongol Empire was huge. It stretched all the way into Europe, all across Asia, and they implemented this everywhere, this idea everywhere. So with that, I don't have anything else unless there's questions for me. I recommend the book if you get bored. It's fun.
I recommend the get bored.
We're going to go to Mongol. Jennifer and I, she's going to take me back to her mission. I want to go.
Thank you. Any questions for Brent? Anybody have anything else? We do want, if not, we do want to go into closed session for the purpose of
Character competency of an
character
individual.
competency of individuals, with no intent to return to city council.
Do you need a motion?
Yes.
I move that we go into closed session to discuss the character competency of the individual with no intent to return.
Second.
Second, I think we have to vote on it, right?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mecum.
Aye.
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 Okay. Council Scholes, thank you.